All right, folks. Last week we had Attorney Ben Crump on, as well as the mother of this man in Virginia, Irvo Otieno. He was, of course, in a mental hospital in Virginia when he was essentially attacked by seven sheriff's deputies. And so disturbing video, folks. And it's no audio on the video, but it shows you exactly the actions of these officers. Shameful, despicable. They have actually been arrested and charged in this case. We're giving you a trigger warning, folks, because it's very difficult to watch. We're going to show you the video so you can actually see what took place as these sheriff's deputies essentially killed this brother. Watch. So what you see, folks, you see here, Irvo was actually bound. He was actually bound. His hands and feet were bound, and he was then dragged into this particular room. Okay, he was dragged into this room. So you see right here, 4 sheriff's deputies standing over him. You see 3 others in the background. You see 6 to 7 other people standing all around. So we're talking about, I mean, literally a dozen people standing. So now all of a sudden you see more individuals. Now you see, so you're trying to tell me that 8 to 10 people are required to actually get this brother uncontrolled. Now you see them kneeling on his legs, kneeling on his back, kneeling over his entire body. Okay. That's what you see right now. I mean, you literally see the officer, the bald-headed sheriff in the middle. His entire weight is literally on this man's body. Now you're going to see in a moment, they're going to turn him on his side. Okay, that continues. This literally goes on, y'all, for a total of 9 minutes. You see the woman in the back now directing them. And so we're talking about anywhere from 12 to 14 people who were involved in exactly what took place here. Now what then took place as this continues, it was after 12 minutes, the deputies checked him for a pulse, and then after 3 minutes, they start CPR trying to revive him. An hour later, Otieno was pronounced dead. Cabell Baskerville, Dinwiddie County's Commonwealth attorney, says a separate Henrico County jail video shows deputies spraying Otieno with pepper spray and punching him in the side as well as the torso. These deputies, they are accused of a cover-up as they waited 3 hours to report Otieno's death to Virginia State Police. Now, let's do this here, folks. Let's give me a 2 box. I'm gonna talk to Cheryl Dorsey, retired LAPD sergeant. So we're gonna keep playing the video while I have a conversation with her. Cheryl, glad to have you back on the show. I mean, so as you watch this video, Cheryl, I mean, look at the number of people. The number of people, guys, keep showing the video. The number of people in this video dealing with one person. This, I mean, it's a dozen people.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous, and what happens is, I like to refer to this as kind of a wolf pack mentality. You have all of these law enforcement personnel. You also have medical professionals who are standing around, and everybody is in a zone. And at some point, it becomes less about trying to get this person into custody, if that's what they're trying to do, control, contain. It becomes punishment. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened. At some point, you have deputies who are punching and spraying this individual. It's punishment, and it's so unnecessary. And you can see that having a clinician, a medical professional standing by isn't helpful. I've said this many times, that when you have someone who they say is violent and or aggressive, medical professionals are going to do just what we see here: stand down and let police deal with this person.
And again, so you see these sheriff's deputies, and I mean, you literally are seeing individuals laying their entire weight on this man's body. I mean, you would think with 10 people, you can restrain one person as opposed to putting your entire weight on a man's body.
Listen, all you need in my mind is really 4 people. Everybody get a body part, get a limb. Somebody get an arm, somebody get a leg. You got people on each side. You hold him down that way to have, and these are good sized folks. If you look at this video, these are not little people. These are good sized folks putting all of their body weight on this individual. And so it doesn't matter whether you have law enforcement or whether you have a medical professional who's used to dealing with someone who's in mental crisis. If you don't have someone with some common sense, matters not the ethnicity. We see most of these folks are Black. And nobody seems to be managing this incident and the containment of this individual.
And I think that's an excellent point right there. I mean, look at the video. Who the hell is the supervisor? Who is the person who is literally directing this? I mean, we're looking at, and as you said, mostly Black. We're looking at I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm counting almost 15 people.
Yeah, and it looks like the gentleman with the dark brown, and I don't know if these are all the same agency, but this dark brown uniform, he seems to have a chevron of some sort on his sleeves. And so is he the senior officer on scene? He seems to be most involved and engaged. Who's in charge of these civilians? Which of these people is an administrator in this mental facility? This is so unnecessary. This man is there allegedly to be helped by these people, and they failed him miserably.
Again, just unbelievable watching this. And again, we're talking about, I mean, you look at his body is laying motionless. They suffocated this man. I mean, they literally pressed the air out of this man's body. And now you see him laying there motionless. You see now they're performing CPR. Well, what the hell did they think was going to happen if you got 8 to 10 people lying on a man's body?
And you have to assume at some point, if he were able, he probably was verbalizing discomfort, distress. We don't hear it in the video. And then I'm just further bothered by the fact that it took a significant amount of time before they notified an investigative authority that this man had in fact died. Is everybody getting their story together on the hospital side, on the law enforcement side? What was going on in those hours that it took to make a notification?
I mean, it is stunning to watch this. Unlike the George Floyd video, where there was audio, where you heard George Floyd crying out for help, crying out for his mom, all of that. You don't have any audio here, but I would say this is just as disturbing to watch them walk this man into this room, pin him to the ground. He came in alive, bound, hands and legs bound, and now you see them valiantly trying to save his life, performing CPR, when they're the ones who are responsible for this man having no breath in his body.
Yeah, and so if his hands were bound, as you say, and his feet were bound, as you say, what was all that maneuvering about? It sounds like he was in some sort of custody, if you will. So what was that really all about? Just punishment?
Yeah, precisely. That's exactly this is the same thing that I have to say. And again, we now know you always know when you do something wrong when you take 3 hours to report what took place. So what that means is they were trying to cover this thing up. That's what they were doing.
Well, everybody had a story to tell, and they were trying to get it together, no doubt. And we now know that at least, I think, 10 of the law enforcement officers were charged in the murder of this young man. And so clearly there's sufficient evidence to show that they did not do what they were there to do to assist this person. And so We'll have to see if there will be others, because there's more than 10 people standing around at that point.
Well, and again, this goes to show you what happens when you need leadership on the ground, and so you have folks who, after the fact, are now trying to stay out of jail. If you do the right thing on the front end, then you don't have to worry about going to jail.
Absolutely. And so we'll have to see, what ultimately happens. And, this is a great cautionary tale for everyone who's been yelling, oh, if we only had a medical professional, if there was a clinician on hand who's accustomed to dealing with someone in crisis, things would be better. I know that not to be true. And this sadly is evidence of that.
Indeed. Cheryl Dorsey, we appreciate you joining us, breaking this down. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.